Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rekt Capital and welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for joining me in today's video where we're going to be talking about the macro range that Bitcoin is currently in, and we're going to be talking about some of the promising signs that we're seeing inside this macro reaccumulation range. So let's dive into the video right after our quick sponsor. Our sponsor for today's episode is Ledn.io. Ledn offers a wide variety of financial services for long-term holders of digital assets. Ledn helps you do more with your Bitcoins through their Bitcoin savings accounts, their Bitcoin-backed loan program, and their B2X program. Their Bitcoin savings accounts let you earn 9.25% on your USDC and 6.25% on your Bitcoin. With their Bitcoin-backed loan program, you can take out a stable coin or dollar loan off of your Bitcoin, which is a much more tax efficient way to keep your Bitcoin exposure while gaining dollar liquidity. And through Ledn's B2X program, you can double your exposure to the Bitcoin you already own. Check out the link below in the description and do more with your Bitcoin today. Awesome, so let's now dissect this macro range, because this is the reaccumulation range that Bitcoin has been consolidating inside. It's the 28k, 69k region, roughly speaking. This is the historical range low, the macro range low, and you can see here that we've been consolidating inside this green area for a while on a few occasions, most notably early Q1 of 2021, mid Q2, mid-year, right over here, and even here very briefly tapping into this demand area, but actually forming a higher low relative to this cluster of price action, to this accumulation area, essentially speaking, because these are accumulation areas, and you can see that this is a higher low here. So a very good promising sign of a macro higher low developing inside a macro reaccumulation area. And this, of course, is going to be the macro range high. So this is the major resistance that Bitcoin needs to break in order to ascend to new all-time highs and rally to really high price levels. For the time being, however, we're still in the mid-range area, and this mid-range is essentially the midpoint of this macro reaccumulation area, and the mid-range, interestingly, is always the midpoint in between the major demand area and the major resistance area. But interestingly, this midpoint, this mid-range, is also confluent with two key bull market exponential moving averages, which actually need to be turned into a new support. Both of them do, and at the moment, both of them are resistance, or at least for the time being. Because this 21-week green EMA was a resistance a few weeks back, it might be a resistance in the future, but it hasn't actually been tagged. Whereas this blue exponential moving average is theoretically a resistance right now, but not a confirmed one. If Bitcoin is able to weekly candle close above this blue exponential moving average, then that's going to turn into a support, and that's going to be a really positive sign, because previously when Bitcoin was able to break back above the blue bull market EMA, that is the 50-week EMA, that led to a nice uptrend, which then led to reclaiming the green exponential moving average, which is also a key bull market indicator, a key EMA. You can see a weekly candle close followed by a retest attempt. And the same thing here, though on a dip. So we saw this sort of price action take place in an uptrend and then a dip before further upside, and I'm probably going to be watching out for a similar turn of events for the green exponential moving average once Bitcoin is able to attempt a flip of that resistance into a new support. For the time being, we're seeing that happen with the 50-week EMA, so that's something to watch out for. But going forward, these two moving averages are the ones to watch. These are going to be the two resistances for the time being that need to be flipped into a new support, because at the moment, this range is very good at denoting one thing, and that is that this mid-range is denoting whether Bitcoin is going to be residing in the lower half of the range, consolidating in the lower half of this macro reaccumulation area. But if we see these two EMAs flip into a new support, then we're going to see price start to consolidate in the upper half of the actual macro reaccumulation range. So for the time being, we're going to be in this half of the range. But once we've turned this into a new support, as explained earlier, via key technical retest attempts, weekly candle closes like over here, for instance, then we'll see a confirmation of breaking into the higher upper half of the range, and we'll see higher price levels from that point. So this mid-range is really important in just denoting how to shift sentiment, because it's easy to be a bit more bullish about further continuation towards the upper price regions in this upper half once we've seen those retest attempts. But if we're unable to weekly candle close above any of these EMAs, then they might figure as a resistance, and we could see a drop into the higher 30s, which would be a drop to just establish a new higher low, in which case we'd have a second higher low, a more macro higher low right over here. But then in the event of a dip to 38k, for instance, we'd see another higher low on the more micro scale. And then in that case, we'd probably see an ascending triangle form, with the blue 50-week exponential moving average figuring as a resistance, once again being the validation point for that ascending triangle should we get that dip into 38k. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it educational. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it, and of course subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. I'm Rekt Capital, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.